Now, counterfeit goods directly undermine the sales of authentic brands. So when consumers opt for cheaper, fake versions of designer products, the revenue that brands could have earned diminishes. So consumers encounter poor quality replicas. It may lead them to associate these inferior products with the original brand. This degradation of brand reputation can make it more challenging for designers to justify their prices and uphold the perceived value of their collections. South African designers have been dealing with counterfeit goods for years, and now they are joining the Alliance Against Counterfeit to combat the effects of counterfeiting, and brands may need to spend additional resources on marketing campaigns to reinforce their authenticity and value to consumers. Well, that they ensure that the problem is dealt with. And for more on this, we're joined by designers who create their own prints, Papama Mtwisha, Sandi Mazibuko, who is famous for her Nguni print, and Reabetswe Khoabane, the founder of Alliance Against Counterfeit. Ladies, a very good morning. Thanks for joining us. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
It's an absolute pleasure. Papa, I'm going to start with you. So how have counterfeit goods specifically affected the sales of your Africa, Your Time Is Now brand?
I mean, I don't doubt that they've affected. And obviously, we were alerted to the fact that our stuff was out on Small Street about 4 years ago. And we then, because we've been trademarked, we trademarked our brand, the message and the font when we went out to trade. So we took our papers and we went to the Small Street stores that sold our goods to confiscate some of our goods. So I'm hoping that it has stopped. But recently we saw it on Amazon, which is a whole different story because it has a wide global reach. Yeah. So it's very hard to quantify, you know, the amount of money that's been taken from our kitty.
But at face value, how can you tell that this is your original brand and this is counterfeit?
You know, those who know, and obviously as the founder and the creative director of the brand, I can tell the font is not quite the same. The words are the same, but the font is not quite it, and definitely the quality is subpar. When we looked at the garments, it's not the quality that we used, because they also sell it for much cheaper than we do, because they can't justify selling it for the prices we sell it, because there's a certain quality that we use and obviously the manpower that's behind the brand.
Right, right. So sad, man. Now, Ria, let me also bring you in. What inspired you to establish the Alliance Against Counterfeit Goods, and what do you aim to achieve with it?
I mean, the purpose behind starting Alliance Against Counterfeit obviously was influenced by the fact that when I was a journalist at Sunday Times, I used to write a lot about fashion. I went then back to school to study law and obtained my law degree. When I obtained my law degree, the designers themselves reached out and said, we don't know a better person to give this idea to, as you have been in the fashion writing about us to now finishing your law degree, we think you're the perfect person to start it. I mean, our aim basically is to protect the goods that South African brands have worked so hard for to create, not only as brands, but as authenticity of what they create and how hard they work to come up with prints that are authentic to our culture. So the aim of the Alliance is basically to combat intellectual property infringement and protect designers' rights. And with that, we have formed the alliance with them, involved with every stage of taking it, to say we are putting out a message and raise awareness against counterfeiting of goods.
Yeah. So what is your role then in terms of wiping out these counter goods from our shelves? Because I know that some people may think that you don't have the legal standing to be raiding shops, on Small Street or wherever. What is your role, and what's the level of collaboration you have with authorities?
Exactly that. So what we have done so far is that we are in stakeholders with CIPC is aware of the Alliance. We've been speaking to them. They're in support of whatever message we're sending out to raise awareness, educate consumers about the products that they see in the streets. Obviously to combat in the sense that we're going to obviously go to the police and law authorities to accompany us to raid Small Street soon. Basically, we're coming.
They're going to be very afraid. Sandi, how did you become aware that your print designs were being copied?
So our brand, the print was launched in 2018. And then in 2019, I started seeing the fabrics, because I knew that they were going to copy because they already started copying other things that you do. But when we ventured into textile printing, I was not aware that it's not just going to be the garments that are going to be copied. It's going to be, they're actually going to print fabric.
Sure.
So when they print fabric, that means all other designers can take that fabric and use it. So that became very hard for us to fight because like it was all over. And I understood when it comes to designers, because it was something new for the brand, we were doing it for the first time. I understood when people used this because they went to fabric shops to buy. They didn't know that it was belonging to another fellow designers. So we had to try as a brand to try and fight it legally because our Nguni print is protected copyright with the DTI. So we had to fight legally, and then that's where it started going down. All the Nguni print that we see, like it's literally all over the world. It's not even just South Africa. I see it now. People are changing colorways. It's just something else. You're like, oh, okay, you changed now the color. It looks like this now.
Sure.
So it just affected the brand a lot because some people were even questioning, it's like, why do you saying this is yours? Because it's in Ndebele. People were just saying Ndebele print. But our point is like, you've never seen it presented in this way. We take the inspiration from the cultural beads, the shapes and everything, but we had to design something new that haven't been seen in the market.
Right.
So that's why most people could relate to it. They could see themselves, say, oh, okay, I see myself, I'm Zulu, I'm Xhosa, I can see wearing this because it speaks to me. So I think that's how it's got all over the world as well.
So if someone copies your design or your idea and then just tweaks it a bit and adds their own personal touch or their own elements, would you still claim it as your own intellectual property?
It depends how far you do it. At a certain extent I can, but if you really change it, distort it completely, and then you can't, because when you copyright it, it's all the elements, it shows all the elements that are in the print, in the pattern itself. So you can still fight it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, Papama, is there something called the different levels of fakeness? I know it may sound like it doesn't make sense because once something is fake, it's fake. It's either original or fake. There's no middle ground. But because I went to Small Street, you know, just to find out the price of certain elements, and then the owner, who is of foreign national, asked me, do you want it fake or fake?
Oh, that's a first. I've never heard of that.
And there's actually a definition for that, yeah.
No,
fake.
So it's
grading.
basically, yeah, so there's two definitions on how to define counterfeit. So counterfeit is basically, obviously, the copying of an original brand, and then there's illumination of the illegality of copying of an original brand, and then there's the legal imitation of that brand, you know. So
hang on a second, a legal imitation?
Yes. So
I've never heard of that.
Yes. So there is, to an extent, let's say Papama approves of her print being used on a different garment, but she's aware of it, but it's not, maybe it's Africa Your Time is now, but in a different way. Maybe it's used now on a laptop, right? And she approved of that. That is a legal imitation of now transferring, let's say,
But it doesn't make it fake.
No,
legal imitation doesn't make it fake.
No, it doesn't. So but it falls under counterfeit, but because the fact that it's legal doesn't make it sort of right, but she has to be aware of it, even if it's transferred to another product, because now counterfeiting is beyond just garments as we knew it, as it started with luxury brands. It has now gone to food, technology, motor cars, parts. It's just beyond controllable. So, I mean, with the effect of it, there must be some sort of, obviously, the monopoly of trying to control what is illegal and what is not legal. Yeah.
So how do you see the collaboration then between all the designers joining forces together to fight counterfeiting?
I mean, they are the voices, obviously. I'm just the vehicle behind the voices. Okay. The collaboration, obviously, would then entail us going out there, educating consumers about safety products that they're buying, the impact on it, but more than anything, to raise awareness on the impact of jobs that these designers have created, that if you're buying, let's say, a Papama print, you're buying a Nguni print. And then there's a legal imitation of that brand. And then there's these goods, which are South African brands, is not only affecting the designer, you're also affecting the people that they've hired. It affects also government, because without proper revenue that government receives from them when they pay tax, they cannot afford that, because counterfeit goods affects even the revenue that government is supposed to be making from their taxes. So we see it as a I mean, South African brands, relatively they are new to the market, right? Whereas international brands have been around for more than 50 years. They're all over the world. So if we don't start now, and that's the aim of it, to say we're not going to wait, because South African brands are not all over the world like your luxury international brands. They are in South Africa and they are exporting. They are exporting. They are not exporting at a lot. They don't have stores in Europe. So if we don't stop it at home and educate our people before it becomes a global problem, it's going to impact and shut down them, because they are still starting up and they contribute into the economy of South Africa. So if we don't educate our consumers and we don't educate the government to come on this journey with us, it's going to affect job losses. And we see ourselves saying, we're protecting the brands, we're protecting creativity, but also we are inspiring that as a young person, if you're going to be a designer in South Africa, there are revenues and ways in which you become successful. And these brands are successful. So if we don't protect them and look after them, then the innovation and creativity in our culture dies, because we see brands coming up and then they die and nothing happens.
But what's the government saying then? Are you getting the necessary buy-in from the government in terms of implementing some of these policies?
We actually work with a very good professor, Professor Malbaken Forero, a copyright expert. She is on our side to obviously amend some of the trademark loopholes that we've established. So we're also aiming to develop the law in counterfeit, because we have established some loopholes when it comes to trademark. Secondly, we have reached out to government entities who are interested to being on this journey with us. So hopefully the announcement will come and then you guys will find out who's more interested in helping us combating this counterfeiting goods of South African brands.
Okay. Now, in as much as, it affects your revenue, but how does counterfeiting affect your brand identity and perception? Because if I buy a counterfeit goods and the quality is substandard, I'm going to blame you. I'm going to blame you, the brand owner.
And also part of us joining the Alliance is also we've realized that there's more strength in numbers, because as I said, we were alerted to this pre-COVID and Sandi's before that, and we've been fighting it with our own individual lawyers, which can be very costly. But most of these people that are producing these goods aren't from here, so we want to educate the consumers that if you do support these fake brands, you're taking the currency and the revenue outside of the country. So it's actually better for the bigger picture to keep it here, even though our products will be a little bit higher, because we do use premium quality products, and the labor situation is very good and we pay our workers properly. They need to know what the impact is of buying fake goods, even though it might be a quick fix because you want to buy in on the product, but the bigger value, the bigger problem that they're causing by supporting these foreign nationals.
Now, Sandi, how do I, as a consumer, help you as the designer and the brand owner, join the fight against counterfeiting? Can I go to the shops and confiscate some of the counterfeited goods?
No, you can't do it yourself. Even us, we can't go do it ourselves. We can go speak to the shop owners about it and show them the proof that you are selling a counterfeit goods, but we need to work with the law, like with the, I think it's traffic cops department.
Law enforcement.
Law enforcement, they are the ones that do that. So my thing is, they always do these raids, like all the time. But when they go out there, they take international brands. No one is
representing.
They don't take local brands from the markets that when they see on counterfeit. They don't know about it, so this is why we're starting it, so they are aware as well. When they see these international brands, they're taking them, they take the local, remove the local brands as well. Because it happens often.
Right.
Yeah, that they do the raids.
So, Ria, if I see a counterfeit goods on the shops, on the shelves, who do I get in touch with? Do I get in touch with the law enforcement or I contact you?
I mean, because we started the Alliance, so you'd have to call us and tell us that you've spotted Africa, your time is now. House of Fabrosens, Makosa Africa,
Yes.
or Gert, designers that basically we have joined to say they are combating counterfeit. And obviously then we reached out to the law enforcement and we go and seize the goods. Yes.
We were actually alerted, as Africa Times, we were alerted by the consumers. I woke up one day and my phone was blowing up. It was from Instagram tags where customers, I think it was an online store at the time, where the customers themselves were like, not this brand. This is not the brand to do this for. Because just purely by the message, you can't be saying that Africa Your Time is now on a product that says made in China, because that's what the products were saying. So that was we were very grateful for those customers. Others we wouldn't have known that in Marabastad they were selling the brands. And I think in the last few years it's kind of subsided. We haven't had more tags and we hope that it has stopped. But we definitely wanted to join the Alliance so that if anyone is thinking of starting again, they should know that we are serious about this.
Great chatting to you. Thank you so much for your time. Hey.
Thank you for having us.
Very insightful conversation, and we certainly hope that it will be an ongoing conversation because the infiltration of counterfeit goods in our shelves is seemingly getting out of control. All right, thank you so much for joining us. Well, talking to us about the impact of counterfeiting has in the fashion industry for creatives who create their own prints was designers Papama Mtwisha and Sandi Mazibuko, as well as Reabetswe Khoabane, the founder of Alliance Against Counterfeit. All right, let's now take a quick break. We'll be back shortly.